Hi Stampin' Friends, it's Chris Slogar from BuckeyeInklings.com. Today I want to show you this really fun interactive card. It's a sliding lock card, and the ice cream cone here is locking down this side flap that's holding the card closed. So you can see that there's a slot punched here, and the ice cream cone can slide along that slot, and that's how you open the card to reveal the inside. Okay, so really great and versatile because you could use any papers, any theme. This doesn't have to be an ice cream cone. This could be any shape mounted here. But I'm going to show you how to make this. I really wanted to show off this new ice cream corner suite. Of course, we've got the great designer paper coming up. This will be in our January through June mini catalog, available starting January 5th. And you can see there's a stamp set, an ice cream cone builder punch. There's some other accessories, the sprinkles, and some great ribbon. But let's make this card, and of course, I know you'll modify it to suit your needs. We start with a piece of Blackberry Bliss here that is 5.5 by 10.5. Okay, so you're not going to get two out of one sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper because you have to use the long dimension, 5.5 by 10.5. And you want to score, and I'm not using my scoring tool because I actually want to score just a little shy of 4 1/4. Okay, so make sure that you are not going over 4 1/4. If you are just a tiny bit less, that's going to be good because you want that front flap to fit in here and not obstruct that side flap. Okay, so like I said, 4 1/4, and then the next score is at 8.5. Need to open that. All right, so this is where you just want to make sure that this flap doesn't get in the way of this fold. Okay, so that's why we scored just a little under 4 1/4. Now, I like this front flap angled. I think that's a fun look. All I did here was mark a point. Let's see, I'm just measuring from the fold 1 inch over. Okay, so I'm going to cut from that point down to the corner. And that will make that fun shape. All right. Now, for the designer paper here, we've got the ice cream print, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And then the print for this trapezoid shape, I recommend just committing to make these in groups of 2. I think this is so much easier. You can start with a piece of designer paper that measures 2.5 by 5 1/4. Okay, and I'm going to mark it. This needs to be 3/4 inch wide at the top. So I'm just using the grid lines here to mark a point at 3/4. And that leaves 1 3/4. Okay, and at the bottom here, I'm going to move over 3/4 from the bottom left corner, or 1 3/4 from this corner. All right, so when I cut that between those two marks, you have two pieces that are exactly the same. That's why I say I think this is easier to make it from a rectangle this way and less wasteful, and then you have two pieces. So I say commit to making 2. All right, and that's all we need the trimmer for. All right, so let's see. The slot is made with the classic label punch. Okay, this is a great punch to have in your collection. And what we're going to do is punch this little edge first. Okay, so I am going to, so that the depth matches on both of these punches, I'm going to make sure to push in all the way until the paper hits the back edge of the punch here. And then I'm coming over to this edge. I'm on the inside here. And I'm punching like 3/4 or 1 inch, somewhere in there. Okay. And then I'm going to close this and mark that edge on my front panel and punch that to match. Okay, so I'm pushed all the way in again, so that will line up in my slider. And then I'm going to apply the designer paper. You might say, why don't you just put the designer paper and punch through all of that at the same time? I like to avoid that when I can. Our cardstock is really thick, so going through more than one layer of cardstock is pretty stressful on the punches. Sometimes you can't help it, so sometimes you have to do that. In this case, we don't. I can do this in 2 steps. So I've got the ice cream paper down, and did you notice I just applied adhesive around that slot? And I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops. For this little kind of crazy trapezoidal piece. Okay, and then I'm going back with my punch here, and I'm going to nip out that designer paper. Okay, so like I said, I just think this saves a little wear and tear on the punches, and it's not always possible, but when you can, I would try not to punch through multiple layers. Okay, I want to burnish these really hard so that the flaps will stay closed. I'll go ahead and apply my greeting on the inside. That was Happy Birthday from the Sweet Ice Cream set. Okay, now you can see when this is closed, you're gonna see the white inside of the card in here. That might be fine for you. I would prefer to see the Blackberry Bliss. So I mount on the back side here an oval. I've just cut an oval. It doesn't matter what shape this is, but just so that it's at least the length of this punch, the classic label punch. My oval is the 2 1/4 inch long one. I'm going to take a tiny piece of washi tape and make sure it's covering the opening there. Okay, because I'm going to attach now the adhesive. Now, what we're using to pop up this ice cream cone is our foam adhesive sheets. It comes like this. Okay, I didn't use the strips because the strips are so narrow. This stuff I can cut to the exact dimension I want. That was the other thing I needed my trimmer for. Okay, so I want to cut this just under 3/8 of an inch wide. Okay, and that will fit my track nicely. You cannot usually get through the whole strip, but it's fine. You can get through most of it. You can either cut away your strip like this to hold it, or you can just cut off the pieces as you need them. But what I'm gonna do here, let's see. Oh, I haven't made my ice cream cone. I only have a ice cream cone base. Let me quick stamp and make the ice cream top. I just want to show you how cool that punch is. I'm using Bermuda Bay, and since this is photopolymer, I want to stamp against my mat here. And then I use Pretty Peacock for the sprinkles. Okay, and this is on thick Whisper White because I want this to be pretty sturdy. So let me just punch out the ice cream top and get back to the overall card in a second. Let me just attach these. I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow glue along the top edge to make my ice cream cone. Isn't that cool? These are going to be so fun. Okay, let that dry a second. And then let's get back to that track. We were talking about the adhesive foam. And I just want a piece about 3/4 of an inch long. So if it's too long, it restricts the motion in the track too much. And I am going to, I like to plan this in the closed position. So what I mean by that is this is where the ice cream will be locking down the flap. That's what I mean by the closed position. So I'm just going to put this little strip of adhesive right in there. And then I'm going to mount my, wait 1 second. Let me take the washi tape off now. Now that we have the position. I am going to mount my ice cream cone that I made right on top of that. Okay, so I just kind of liked it like that. And that is our sliding mechanism. Okay. So I'm going to finish the card now with a greeting from that sweet ice cream set, You Melt My Heart, and I'm mounting it up on a Bermuda Bay stitched shape from the Tasteful Labels dies. And I have a bit of the Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon, and I'm going to lock that down where my greeting will go. And that might be too large a piece, I think. Let me cut a little of that end off and trim these ends. And then I'm going to pop up that greeting. You melt my heart. Okay, super sweet. And then, of course, we have these fabulous sprinkles that are part of the suite. And I'm just going to pick a couple to glue down over here to finish the card. And really quite simple, but I think, you know, it looks more complicated than it is. So I love cards like that. Love cards that are so adaptable to different themes. You can just switch out the paper and the stamps, and love cards that show off the designer paper. Okay, so there you have it. Thanks so much for joining me. Oh, let me show you a couple other ideas, and I'll have another video on my YouTube channel with a similar slotted mechanism here. I've got this heart favor. You make my heart happy. Okay, so look for this. Same idea, but it opens up and it's a favor with some Ghirardelli raspberry chocolates. Okay, and I've been making that. This is why I say you can use any shape on your slider. I've been making that in other papers and with other sliding mechanisms. Here's another one with the ice cream. So super fun concept to use that sliding lock. I hope you'll give that a try. Please visit me at BuckeyeInklings.com. These products will not be available until January 5th, but I would so appreciate your help there in my online store if I've inspired you to try this. Thanks so much. Bye.